Hello everyone, welcome back to the Wonders Radio Show for December the 2nd, 2012. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody, and once again I'll be your host. My name is Jeff, and we got another great show for you today for those of you tuning in. Rene and I had a lot of fun. We talked about how we love to complain and how we don't like to do anything about it. We were kind of chatting before the beginning of the show, as we normally do once we're getting everything all set up, and we just started talking about that because we try to keep things in the moment here, right? So it's just such a huge part of our society. We just love to complain. It's just part of our nature, and this show was actually taped like a day or two before the U.S. election, so it's been a while, and my apologies for not getting it up a little sooner. Things have just been a little busy. But man, there was just so much complaining going on and so much finger pointing at that point, and just the hysteria that, of course, it came up in conversation. So we just kind of went from there, and we had a lot of fun. Lots of other things to mention. If you visit thewonders.com, there is all kinds of new information up there about the upcoming workshops for 2013, as well as the study groups. Lots of things to check out. There's the old radio show archives, as well as all of these newer radio shows on YouTube, as well as all the clips on YouTube, as well as some transcripts on the website. Of course, there's the Wonders newsletter that you can sign up for. So, all kinds of things happening. And, the online store, and I've said this a lot of times on other radio shows, but, it's just incredible amounts of information there for anyone looking to really dig and explore everything, consciousness, whether it's really practical or really, really, really broad. It doesn't matter. The Wonders have talked about just about everything over the last 14 years. So, man, it's exciting to know what's to come. There's just so much incredible stuff out there. It's amazing. And so much to explore for ourselves, right? So it's just like it's never ending. It's just never ending. So, one other thing I wanted to mention was that if you haven't checked the Choose Freely TV YouTube channel, a friend of ours, David, who has also been studying with the Wonders for several years, has posted a clip from one of the retreats back in 2009. That I was also at with him, and it's a really cool clip. The retreat, I believe, was called What's Next, and the clip he posted was a group of us talking to the Wonders about imagination and choice, and how we are our imagination, and how that energy sort of extends out into the universe and interacts with other thoughts and other energies, and how things sort of come about and manifest. And it's really, really fascinating. And so that's on the channel as well. If you haven't checked that out already, definitely give that a listen. It kind of gives you a feel for the retreat atmosphere too. It's really neat. A bunch of people sort of sitting around with Rene and Maggie, sort of in the moment with the Wonders, and just exploring anything. And sometimes it's really broad and far-reaching and esoteric-ish, and sometimes it's just our fears in every day-to-day life that are holding us back, and things that we struggle with that we want to get through to have more freedom and to really live freely in life, right? So, the retreats are just a beautiful, beautiful, amazing experience and opportunity that anybody out there listening who is considering or has considered going, man, I got to tell you, it's amazing. So if you can, if you have the ways and the means and you would choose, definitely check it out. What else can I say? It's just incredible. So let's just get to the session. You guys can listen, and it's kind of fun, and it's kind of an interesting twist on a pretty valuable message, I believe, and how much we really complain but never really do anything about it, right? It's kind of like the human condition, right? Or the Canadian condition. Oh, no, it's human. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Enjoy the show, and we'll see you all next time. Take care, everybody. Bye.
All right, we're all set. And hello again, my friend Rene.
Hello, Jeff. How you doing?
Back. Good, wonderful, brilliant, fantastic.
Well, that's nice to hear. Wow. That's the first time you've actually said things like that.
I listened to the last show, and I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't sound so up there.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I always say to people is, like, you call people up and they say, how you doing? They say, fine, how are you doing? I say, can't complain, nobody's listening.
Yeah, right.
It's a great line, and everybody laughs at it, and it kind of breaks the ice, and they go, well, I'll listen. It's like, yeah, right. So you can use that line. That's my gift to you today. Can't complain, right. Nobody's listening. How's that?
I'll try it out.
Yeah.
I'll try it out with my students.
That's it. How you doing? Can't complain. Nobody's listening.
Yeah, right.
The other thing
Maybe we'll just complain. Let's just complain the whole show. That'll be good.
this is it. Well, why not? I mean, as human beings, every now and again, we need a good day of complaining.
Oh man.
You know, we just need that. It's like there has to be one day out of a year that's a complaining day. We should make that a national holiday. This is a national a complaining holiday.
Yeah.
So from now on, we have a national complaining day. How's that?
Yeah, right.
Hey, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Get rid of all your complaints, and the rest of the year you can be happy, jovial, upbeat, and excited about life. And then when people say how you doing, you say, "Hey, I'm amazing today. I'm brilliant. I'm great," or whatever you can think of. But at that one day, you just say, "No, today is my complaining day."
Right. Everybody just loses it.
Well, that would be fun.
Yeah, it's about time. So, what else? We were just chatting before the show. For the listeners that didn't hear us chatting, we were talking about everybody wanting everybody else to do something, but nobody wants to choose, right?
Yeah. By the way, just to let you know, there's no way that anybody would have been able to hear what we chatted ahead of time.
No. No, I know that.
You said, for those of you who didn't know who didn't hear what we were saying, it's like,
or weren't using your telepathic abilities.
Yeah, nobody could listen to that. Good line, Jeff. Good line.
Yeah, right. My line.
This is going to be one of those shows, I can tell. It's going to be one of those fun shows, or we're just kind of playing today. Yeah, speaking of not complaining. What were we talking about? Oh, speaking of wanting people to do things and not, yeah.
Nobody wants to do anything.
No. Let's face it. In life, it's so much easier if somebody else can just do it for you. Mm-hmm. And that's the way people live. I mean, let's face it. Yeah, you live every day hoping or wishing that somebody else will do what you have to do, so you don't have to do it. Like, let's say you and your lovely wife-to-be soon, whatever, okay? You're sitting there and you're cooking dinner. Wouldn't you rather she do it? Like, let's face it, you would rather she do it, okay? Yeah. And she would rather you do it, okay? So what we do in relationships is we create little circumstances so that we say to ourselves, I'm not good enough at that. Why don't you do it? And the other one says, well, I'm not good enough at that. Why don't you do it? Okay? So, and that's how relationships develop, because you end up with a balance where one takes on one role and one takes on the other role, and then sort of like in between, it all works out, right? Mm-hmm. But the only reason it all works out is because what we're saying is, I don't want to do this. I'd rather you do it. Mm-hmm. Now you take that and you translate that into more like work, or more like making conscious choice, or more like standing up for yourself, or standing up for the beliefs that you have, or having integrity, or having honesty, or anything like that. And all of a sudden it's like, well, I'd rather you do it, not me. It's better that you do it, And so that's what the rest of the world is like, which is why we end up electing. We have a social structure that's like where we elect people as our representatives to do for us what we're not willing to do ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that way we can blame them. That way we can say, when it doesn't work out, it's your fault. Mm-hmm. You're the one that did it. You take a look at the American election today, that's going on there. It's kind of, what's it, beginning next week or something like that? They're going to finally have their election.
Finally, I know. Seems like it's been going on forever.
But look at it, though.
Yeah.
What it is two parties, the Democrats and the the Republicans, sorry. So the Democrats and the Republicans, two parties fighting to be the representative that's going to get blamed for not doing what everybody wants them to do.
Yeah.
It's a no-win situation.
Yeah, exactly.
It is an absolutely no-win situation. Would you want to be president in a situation like that? Not me.
No,
I don't want to be. I don't want to be the guy in front that gets blamed for everything. Mm-hmm. But there's people out there who really, that's what they want. They want the recognition. It fuels their ego, whatever. They want the recognition to be able to say, I did this, And then when everybody says, yeah, but you didn't do that, you can sit there and say, well, it wasn't quite my fault, it was this other guy's fault, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully deflect the blame. And the people, the American people, are sitting there and they're having to choose this, make this choice. And really, it's like, what a way to make a choice. It's like, what's your alternative? You've got both guys who would love nothing more than to be able to say, to lead by saying, I'm choosing this, I'm doing this. And then, but both guys who, at the end of the day, are going to look at each other and say, it's your fault. It didn't happen. It's your fault it didn't happen. And on top of that, the American people are going to look at whoever they elect and say, well, it's your fault that it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, like, let's face it, if you go back over your little history, I'll give you a small history lesson here. You know, George Bush, when he was president, the economy collapsed.
Yeah,
you know,
basically.
the whole thing collapsed. The banks, the mortgages, everything collapsed. So what did the American people do? They said, it's your fault, George. Okay? So let's elect somebody else. Let's elect, you know, Obama, who at least is coming in with a message that says, hey, we can change this. We can do something different. Obama gets in and says, I'm in here, now I'm president, based on the message that I'm going to do something different. So he gets what? He gets a year and a bit. And the next thing you know, they elect a whole Republican or majority Republican Congress because the people of the United States are sitting there saying, Obama, you're not doing this fast enough. You're not doing this right. You're wrong. Your message of hope is all wrong. So we're going to really blame you for the fact that you raised our hope, and now we don't have any hope. Okay? It's your fault. We don't have any hope. So now they elect the Republicans so that the Republicans can fight with the Democrats all the time. And that way, the president isn't allowed to do what he wants to do because, of course, the way the Congress is set up and the way the Senate and the presidency is set up, there's just no way that a president who doesn't have the support could get anything done. So as a result, you've got this locked out Congress, this locked out Parliament, if you want to call it that, in the American, the United States of America. And there's no way that he can do anything. So what do? Now they're blaming him for not doing anything to get past this whole logjam that was going on.
Yeah.
Duh.
I know. It's like it almost is.
And now he wants to run for president again. So to do what? If the American people don't, sure, they can elect him as the president. Sure, he's a nice guy, et cetera, et cetera. But if they don't elect a Congress to be able to support him, how is he ever going to get any of the things that he wants done?
Yeah, exactly.
And the same thing applies to Romney. Let's say they elect Romney instead. Okay.
Well, his message is kind of the same thing, too. It's like real change now. It's like, well, that's what everybody says.
Well, yeah, so they're going to put him in. Then they're going to elect a Democratic Congress. Then what's going to happen? Same thing. The Democrats are going to pull the same stunts the Republicans pulled. And then what are you going to do? You know, like at the end of the day, what are you going to do? So it's all about let's blame the other guy for our own disappointments. And, you know, like it's time for people to start realizing that the power isn't with the other people. The power is with themselves. And,
absolutely.
You know, and start doing something about it. If you really want your country to change, well, you got to put all the people in place to change that country. You know? And you can't sit there and say, well, I'm not going to vote this time because, you know, I was so disappointed after the last time. I mean, I voted the last time, first time in a long time that I haven't voted. I voted the last time and look what happened, nothing. So I'm not going to vote this time. Well, what's that? What is that thing, that whole I'm not going to vote?
Yeah, and as if, you know, one person or even one party could possibly even be responsible for fixing an entire nation of people. Like,
yeah,
the whole idea of that is insane. I mean, it's
exactly. But somehow or other, the American people and everybody else in the world in their own countries, they've been sold a bill of goods by the same politicians that they're blaming. The politicians and the parties that are coming into power, they're the ones that are selling the bill of goods that says, we have the answer, we can change it. Okay? No, you can't. You can't change anything unless everybody goes along with it, or at least the majority. And the majority, I'm not talking about the majority that votes. I'm talking about the majority of the people in the United States. Okay? You can't sit there and have a turnout of 50, 60, 70%, and a majority of that, let's say 70% of the people vote, then 35% put in whoever goes in as president or Congress or whatever, and then 35% rules the rest of the country. How the heck are you going to get any cooperation on any level at all?
Yeah.
There's no way, because all the people that didn't vote, well, they're going to go after their congressmen anyways. They're going to go after their senators and their congressmen and their representatives, and, you know, they're not going to be quiet.
No.
They're just not going to vote.
No, exactly.
They're going to complain, because let's face it, we live in a world where we complain. We love to complain. Now, the difference between the United States and Canada is Canadians are better at complaining than the Americans.
Yeah.
We call it our national pastime, because really what we do is we don't even get 70% of the people out for a vote. You know? A lot of times, especially when you're looking at municipal politics, you're getting lucky to get 30%, okay, 35%. In federal politics, on the average, it's about, sometimes it's 60%, sometimes it's only down to 50%. But we love to complain. Hey, how else are you going to spend your cold, frigid nights? You know, sitting around the campfire, sitting around the fireplace, complaining. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got your big woolies. I mean, I'm going to do the stereotypical Canadian here. Your big woolies, you know, your red long johns. You're bundled up in, you know, Hudson's Bay blankets, and you know, we've got our cold noses and everything else. And what are we going to do? Well, we're going to complain. We're going to complain about the weather. We're going to complain about the cold. We're going to complain about not having enough wood. We're going to complain about no hockey. We're going to complain about not being hot enough. We're going to complain about why can't we have enough sun. We're going to complain about politics. We're going to complain about religion. We're going to complain about life in general. We're going to complain about the fact that we don't have a job. We're going to complain about the fact that we do have a job and we have to go to work. You know, we're just going to complain. So that's a national pastime in Canada. In the United States, it's almost a national pastime now. You see, they're trying to become Canadian.
It's getting there.
Yeah. You know, because you know how Canadians always want to be Americans, okay? Because we always want to be like the next state of the United States. You know, we want to be taken over by the United States. Let's face it, we want the NBA, we want the, you know, we want the NHL, the NFL here. You know, that's what we want, right? Well, you know, I think what's happening is actually we're melding together. So the Americans are looking at Canada and saying, well, you know, we should take up some of their things. We should look at them. We should complain like they do, you know? We should do that. And then they start doing that. Next thing you know, then they feel better, because after all, they're complaining about something.
Yeah.
Right? And if they complain about it, they feel like they're actively doing something. Surely to God, somebody's listening to them complain, but nobody's listening. You know, that whole thing, I can't complain because nobody's listening. Really, nobody's listening to anybody else complaining.
No.
You know? And politicians, you know what they say, if you really want something changed in politics, you just need about 10,000 people to write in. And 10,000 people represents the whole population of the United States. If you can get 10,000 people to write in to complain about something, then the chances are it's going to be acted upon. Okay? So in Canada, it's a little less. We only need 1,000 because we got less people than they do, you know? But, you know, so you just need 1,000 people put together and complain. But unfortunately, here in Canada, we like to complain but not do anything about it. We just want to complain. In the United States, they want to complain and do something about it. So they haven't quite gotten to the point where they're like us. They need to move more like us. We're more passive. We're more willing to just complain and not do anything about it. Just to sit on our laurels and just be able to complain. It's like the image I've got in my head is like sitting on the porch, you know, in your rocking chair, smoking your pipe and complaining and not doing anything else.
Yeah.
What a pastime.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should have national debate on that. I think what we should do is make that our next national sport. Who has the best complaining? You know, forget the hockey. Like, I mean, really, hockey goes on strike. Did you ever hear complainers going on strike? Complainers never go on strike. I mean, they never do. So, like, why don't we just have a complaining, you know, like a complaining national, you know, the organization? I think we should do that. And then that way, we could just kind of just all complain and not do anything
and
about
nothing will
it.
ever happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
God.
it actually seems kind of familiar.
Well, think about it. I mean, that would be fun.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to worry about going on strike. You wouldn't have to worry about getting paid a lot of money because nobody would pay you anyways. They're all complaining, So you never have to worry about losing your income or, getting overpaid and having to pay, I don't know, hundreds of dollars to go to see a complaining game or, really. It's like, why would you go to the to an arena to see a bunch of complainers? You could just, sit at home and watch your complainers.
Nobody expects you to do anything anyway, so you don't have to choose. You don't have to actually get up and do anything.
Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. And then we could have, like playoffs type thing where it's the American complainers against the Canadian complainers, and whoever wins is the one that does the least. That can complain the best but do the least. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could do that. Then you could have the European complainers, and you could it would be. I think we should do that. I think that would be a fantastic thing. I think what a great way to live life.
Yeah.
No, seriously. You think I'm not being serious. I'm being serious. I really think this would be fun. Just think about it. Just think about all the time you would use up. Like you'd be so busy, just complaining. It's like, man, and you could have competitions, like who's the best complainer and who's the one that can do the least. Complain the most and do the least. Like we could have national competitions, we could have regional competitions, heck, we could have, world competitions. Think about it. You look at the world right now. You got the Iranians that are complaining about the Americans and everything else, and the Israelis are complaining about the Iranians, and sorry. And then you've got the Indians complaining about the Pakistani, and the Pakistani complaining about everybody else, and the Taliban is complaining about the Americans, and the Afghanistan are complaining about the Americans. Everybody likes to complain about the Americans. I think the Americans should be the best. If you want to have a competition with a source of complaining, we should make the Americans the source of the complaint. And then that way we could have a world competition where we all complain about the Americans, but even the Americans can jump in and complain. And then that way they complain that they're not being given enough fair, exposure because really they have nobody else to complain about but themselves. I think that would be fantastic.
Never an ending, there's no end to it.
Well, yeah. Hey, look at the world right now. That's the way it is right now.
Oh, man, nonstop.
God.
We love it.
Yeah. The Muslim complain about the Christians complain about the Muslims, and then everybody complains about the atheists, and,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. It's like, we're complaining about the terrorists are complaining about the non-terrorists. It's like, hey, let's have a complaint. Let's just have a real complaining, society. It's fantastic. I really I think we should go for that. I really think. You think that this YouTube video will actually take off, and then that way people can actually start this?
People will get halfway. Oh, wait to see the comments. It'll be all complaints, probably.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Where are the wonders? What's going on? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, let's complain. Complain that we don't have enough complaints.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should complain now. Let's not worry about the comments. We should complain that we're not getting enough complaints. What's going on here? Let's start this. This is our national, regional, local competition for complaining.
That's right. Speaking sounds so boring in contrast,
Well, yeah, like, hey,
Go out and do something. I'm not going to be able to talk about it.
Well, just think about it. It's like, really, at the end of the day, isn't that just the way it should be done? Let's face it, we're already doing it. The only thing we have to do is create some kind of a competition, formalize it. But don't forget, once you formalize it, you have to complain that it's formalized. Okay? Because if you complain that it's formalized...
This is a formal complaint.
Well, this is it. You got to, it becomes a formal complaint. You got it. This is a complaint of a formalization of a formal complaint. Yes. And if it wasn't formalized, we'd be able to informally complain. But now we have to formally complain, so now we're really stuck. What are we going to do now?
Oh man.
Hey, wouldn't that be cool? I think that'd be fantastic. I'm sorry, Jeff, you got me going on this. I think the rest of the people in this whole world, whoever's viewing this video, you should start your own regional or local complaining group, and start having competition. Maybe your little neighborhood against the other neighborhood, and see who can complain the best. But the point is, complain, but don't do anything about it. That's important.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because whoever does something about it, sorry, you lose the competition. Okay?
Right.
The minute you do something about your complaining, you lose the competition. Okay? If you change anything, you lose the competition. If you complain about something and you go do something about it, then you've lost the competition. Sorry, that's it. You're out. You're disqualified. And then you can complain about being disqualified. Okay? What? You don't like that?
Oh, you might as well run for president at that point.
Exactly. But then I'd have to complain that I'm having to run for president because nobody else wants to,
Complain about everybody else complaining about me. How's that work?
I think that'd be fantastic. Think about it. This would be one of the best things that could happen for all of the human race. Bar none. I think really, and like I said, you got to do it in a way that nobody does anything about it. Because the ones who win are the ones who can do the least amount about it. Okay? That means as Canadians, we probably win all the time. But, It'd
be funny if Obama got up and just said, I don't know what you guys are all complaining about. Like, no one's doing anything anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly.
like, it's your country. Do something.
Yeah, why complain? Nobody's listening. I'm not.
We're not listening. We're trying to get rich and take over the world here. I don't know what you guys are on about.
Yeah. It's like, why am I complaining? You're complaining that nobody wants to give you your business. Nobody wants to buy something from you. Who cares? Doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to do anything about it, because if I did something about it, then I would lose this competition. No way.
Exactly.
I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. I hope that this video really takes off, because then I can complain that it took off. And if it doesn't, I can complain that it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, the moment somebody actually does something, everyone complains about that anyway. So
Exactly. I think that would be absolutely amazing. And hey, don't forget the Belgians in there. I mean, they're really good at complaining too. I hear the Belgians are fantastic about this. I mean,
especially that one guy. We know that
Frederick. Like, really, come on, Frederick. Like, you always complain and never do anything about it. God, you're going to beat everybody if this keeps going.
Right, laziest guy in Belgium.
I know. God, like. It's like he's even getting lazier than the Canadians. Good Lord. We're going to have to do something about that. We're going to have to light a fire under him so that he can actually, when he complains, he can do something about it. And then when he does something about it, he'll lose the competition.
Oh, man. Oh, the humanity.
Well, this is great. Aren't you excited?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? This is exciting. This is fantastic. Just think about it, Jeff. Right now, you can sit here and, hey, for the rest of this show, you can complain and not do anything about it. Okay? And guess what? You might even be in the running then.
I'm a shoo-in. I got it covered.
Yeah, I know, but the point is, though, and this is really important, this is really serious, on a very serious note, that if you complain and don't do anything about it, okay, you will lose the competition. You do realize that.
Right.
Okay? Because there's always somebody that can complain and do less than you. There's always somebody out there. Complain more, do less. It's the quality of the complaining. I mean, if somebody just there's a little bit complain, it's not. They have to be creative in their complaining. Okay, I think they really need to be creative, because let's face it, the average standard complaint is, I don't like this. Well, that's not creative enough. You got to come up with a creative way to complain, so that way, the more creative you are, the more other people can complain about you, and at least you feed them. You give them something to be able to complain about. The more creative you are, the more other people can complain about you. And I think that should be part of the rules of the competition. That it has to be a creative complaint so that others can complain about your creativity. I think that's fair.
Just being Canadian doesn't cut it.
No. We have to be a little more creative. I mean, Canadians are fairly creative in their complaining. They've had years and years and centuries of practice, really. Okay, the Americans are just catching up to us now, but. Sorry.
Actually, I think the French are taking the lead at this point.
Are they? Well, they've had more time to learn. Look, they had Napoleon. What's her name that got her head cut off? See, that's the thing. They can't do that kind of stuff. That's just complaining and doing something about it. Okay?
Yeah.
So, Napoleon was really the loser because he complained and then he went and did something. Okay? Mm-hmm. He went and tried to conquer the world. That's not good. You can't do that kind of stuff. And killing off the French nobility, that was not a good thing. The French really lost in that whole thing of complaining because really if they'd have just complained and not do anything about it, everything would have been just the same and, then you could just keep on complaining and nothing would have changed. It would have been perfect, I mean, let's face it, we live in a world where you don't want anything to really change anyways. You want it to just be the same way it is. So it's mostly perfect if you don't do it. If you can complain and not do anything, then it kind of creates a perfect world,
Yeah.
So, the French, I know, they've had a few centuries to practice more than Canada has, so. We're a young country. We're only 200 some odd years old, so we haven't had enough time.
And we have it so tough here,
Hey, listen, have you had to put up with this bloody weather? I mean, this weather, come on. There's snow outside here right now. I'm looking at some snow. It snowed overnight. I talk about complaining. I had a problem with my roof. One of my shingles was gone down. So I called the roofers to come over and look at it, and they came over and looked at the roof, and there's snow on the roof. Now I had to complain that there's snow on the roof because they couldn't see what the problem was.
That darn hurricane.
There you go. So I put in my complaint today and didn't do anything about it. I just complained. So there you go. I think.
I feel great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that whoever's listening to this, whoever watches this, I hope you start up your own chapters and you get into complaining. And I really hope that you realize that the solution is complain and not do anything. Yeah. That's important. Because if you do something, you're disqualified right away.
Yeah.
All right?
End of story.
And I think that's about the end of our time, Bus. So
I think we covered a lot today. I think it was really good.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to complain anymore, too bad I'm going to cut you off, and that means I'll lose.
And certainly nobody's listening. Definitely not us. So.
No.
People can complain all they want.
They can complain. Yeah, they can complain about this. I don't care. It's like, really? Yeah, such is the way it goes,
Exactly.
All right.
On that note, thanks for your complaining, and I'm inspired to complain.
Good. I will see exactly how many complaints we get out of this. Okay?
Yeah, perfect. All right, my friend.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for everything. Thanks for giving me a chance to complain.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Great
Bye-bye.
session. Bye.